Hi, guys. So today we are talking about the demand principle by Peggy McColl. And so you may or may not have ever heard of this book. And unless you listen to a lot of Proctor stuff, you might not have ever heard of Peggy McColl. So Peggy McColl she is really good at manifesting her, what she wants in life. She's a manifestation coach. And so unless you know a lot about that stuff, you might not be familiar with her. So I started reading last week Peggy McColl's The Demand Principle. And I have to say, if you have not read this book, go get it. Because there are some books where you read them and they're just information. And then there's books that are knowledge. And then there are books that open your mind to a whole new level of life. And this book is one of those. So this is not the type of book that you read one time and you put it down and then you never think about it again. This is the kind of book that you want to go through the end chapters or the end parts of the chapter and do the lessons, because there are lessons that go along with each chapter. And so each activity, you do an activity at the end of each chapter. And so it talks about turning your dreams into your desires and how to level that up into actually being able to go for those desires, because unless you see them as attainable, you're not going to get them. And so if you think, oh, I can't or I won't, then that's going to be the case. So you have to have with your dreams and your desires, you have to have feelings. You've got to, and it talks about in the book about putting feelings with those desires, because unless you know what it's going to feel like, it's not going to open your mind up to that idea, because it's going to seem too big of an idea. So you want to ease yourself into being able to think that big. And to do that, you have to think that big. So you've got to put that feeling with it. You can even start with small desires and stuff like, oh, I wish I had a cookie or whatever, brownie, because, hey, I don't know about anybody else, but I like chocolate and I like food. So, if you don't want to start off with like a big desire, a big dream, then, dip your toes in the water, as they say, and start off like a small desire and a small dream, and then work your way up. But it talks about, you want to write down your desires for life. Like, what's your goal in life? What is your desires? And unless it is physically written, you're not going to be able to focus on it. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I've always been one of those people that was like, well, I'll do later, or I'll just keep it in my head. I'll be fine. And I'll think of it that way. No, you have to be specific. Like, you have to sit down, write it out, and you have to be specific, because otherwise your brain is not going to focus enough on it unless it sees it and also knows that that's what it's saying. So in terms, when you're writing out your desires and your dreams and your destiny that you want for your life, then in terms, when you're doing that with your brain is in a sense talking, like it's saying what it wants. And unless you verbalize that through writing, then you're not going to be able to focus enough on it to get it to where it's already been spoken. So therefore now it's able to be visible in your life. And so there was that activity to do. There's also one where it's called a speak life script. I don't know if that's the specific term. I'll have to look that up for you. But it's where she took all her goals and her dreams and her desires, and she put it on. She taped herself saying these dreams and these desires, and then she would listen to it every day and go through it and just like picture it all. So if you're not familiar with Peggy McColl, you need to get familiar with her. If you really want to manifest some great things in your life, she's got some real tactics, I've got to say. You know, she actually told a story about how she didn't tell this in the book, but she told this in one of the speeches that she did with Bob Proctor. But she was talking about when her and her husband were getting a divorce, she was wanting to buy a house. And so she was wanting to buy this house, and she literally got to where she visualized herself having a house. Then there was a drawing that came up, and you would think, oh, she won it. No, she didn't win the house. What she did was she went in there when they were doing this drawing, and she was like, they were giving tours of this house. So she would go every chance she got to go tour this house, and she'd be like, this is going to be my house. This is my house. This is going to be my house. Well, then when they did the drawing, she did not win it. It was somebody else. It was a doctor, I think. Yeah. And he won the house. Well, then most people would have said, oh, it wasn't destined to be. So I think she went to her brother's or something and went on vacation, and she said she was asleep, and she got this, like, her instincts were like, go to the house. And she knew exactly what that meant. So like the next day and the next time she had a chance, she went to this house. And so she went to this house, and it was up for sale. The doctor was selling it. And she couldn't even afford it, but she still wanted to go see this house. She had them still give her walkthroughs, even though she couldn't afford it. And she even talked them into being able to put on so much on the house a little bit at a time. And she got this house eventually. And I mean, it's a really fascinating story. I'm not able to like get into the specifics and stuff. But I think it's an awesome tactic to be able to do. So, she even talks about when she was wanting this house, she even got in the bathtub with her clothes on while they were giving walkthroughs. And she was like, oh, these people are just visiting my house, and just gets in the bathtub with her clothes on, imagining this is her bathtub, this is her bathroom. Like most people would have been like, no, I don't want to make a fool of myself, blah, blah. And they would have let their paradigm stand in the way. But no, she went full on in. So, I mean, if you really want to manifest some great things in your life, pick up the book, The Demand Principle by Peggy McColl. Not only just pick it up and read it, but actually do the activities and run through it every day and see what happens. I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.